This meeting is.
Go. Oh, where'd my guests go? Good day, everyone. Happy Solution Sunday. I am Lisa Warner, and I am here with my guest who disappeared for a moment, and now he's reappearing. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's another Solution Sunday with my sideways guest. Now he's upside down. Now he's right side up. There we go. Keith Leon S. Woohoo! Always the comedian. Coming in for an appearance. All right. So today, Keith is our favorite guest, our monthly reliable guest on Solution Sunday. And here today, we are going to be sharing some of our favorite tools for transformation. So get out your pens and papers, and we are going to do some fun stuff today. Good morning, Keith.
Happy Sunday. How are you?
Hola, everybody. Great. Oh my gosh, a little disappearing trick at the beginning there. That was funny.
Yeah. It said that you were recording the meeting, and so I thought I was hitting the button that said okay, but I hit the button that said leave the meeting. So that was awesome. So I scrambled back like in 25 seconds. I think that was pretty good.
It was awesome. All right. So today we're going to be sharing some awesome tools for transformation, some of our favorite quotes, some of our favorite resources, some of our favorite processes, because now is the time for transformation. Now is the time that we are going through this great awakening. And it is the time where we are moving out of the mind and into the heart. We are moving out of the mind into the soul. So It is time to transform our reality, because when we shift the platform that we've been operating from, the reality has to change. There is no other way. So we can look at the transformation that we are going through, and we can help to facilitate that, to make it easier, to make it more meaningful, more valuable for you, and much, much easier than it was for us. So, Keith, what do you have to say on this topic to begin with?
Well, what really excited me about this particular topic is not all, but some of the things that I want to share today are the reason that I can say yes to what you just shared. They are the things that had me manifest, right? Speak my word and manifest, and prove to myself over and over so many times that these things that people were writing about and teaching and seminars were actually true, that it wasn't just some airy-fairy hoop that was supposed to make me feel good for 2 days and get my money and send me on my way. These are the things that literally did change my life, which I was like, yes, let's do that. Yeah,
right.
So the simplest thing, I think, to start with, like, there's a process I want to do, but I want to do it a little later and make sure that everyone who's here has arrived with us gets that. But so the simple thing to be would, I think, start with books that changed my life. I had this serious kind of fear of death thing going on, which I thought was interesting for a light worker to have. But that was when I was young, my best friend's aunt, who she had me call her my aunt, and she felt like blood to me. She got really ill, and she was really more of a traditional, buy in to the diagnosis, kind of on her way out, bucket list kind of thing. And she read a book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And I noticed that, like, she was in fear before she read that book. I could tell. And then there was just this calm about her. And I asked her, like, what had happened? Why was there so much peace? And she said, because she read this book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And so I grabbed that book and I read it. And it really shifted something inside of me. So it's, you know, a doctor who believed in nothing basically started doing like a past life regression with somebody, and they had many things to reveal through that past life regression, and that just opened his eyes to the fact that everything is energy, and that and that there is no such thing as death like at all by the time he got done with working with that woman. So it was like the start of a transformation for me. And then second book I'd love to recommend is Chicken Soup for the Soul. The first one, and any of them really, the first three or four, I think they had three helpings that were just the regular stories, not a particular subject like the woman's soul or this soul or that soul, but just the Chicken Soup for the Soul. Uh, excuse me. It changed my life because that book was gifted to me by a producer when I was in TV, because I had a year where I call it a year everybody died. I talk about this in my book, but like all the people that were the closest to me, two best friends, my aunt, my grandmother, my little sister was murdered. I mean, it just went on, and everybody was gone in like the shortest amount of time. And it was palatable. Like you could tell at work, like all of a sudden, Keith, the most positive person you would ever, the light in the room was just silent and dark and sad. And so for Christmas that year, a producer named Donna Lisa Valencia gave me the first Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And that book literally pulled me out of a really, really sad and dark place, one story at a time. I would just go read it at lunch and just be crying into my food. I didn't care who was seeing me. And I just read that, you know, every day. By the time I finished the book, I was feeling so much better, feeling so much lighter, and that was great. Also, I turned over the book and I saw these pictures of Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, and I was like, I'm gonna know those people. I'm going to know them, and that's what started me finally having the guts to kind of reach out to the people that I wanted to meet and make it happen, because I knew I could make everything happen, since I watched my favorite movie of all time when I was a child, which is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original. And that's a whole nother story where I was him. You know, my mom was the one in the bed instead of grandpa. I was that poor, and I just felt like I was that kid. So when he at the end won the Chocolate Factory, and all things were possible and anything was possible, Oompa Loompas, everything, that completely transformed my thinking of what I could or might be when I grew up. So the third book that changed my life is springboarding off Chicken Soup for the Soul. So I got to know Mark Victor Hansen first, and then through Agape. And matter of fact, I used to joke around and say that he was my third biggest fan. There was my mom, and then there was my wife, and then there was Mark Victor Hansen, because every time I would sing at Agape and he was there, he would be like, and he'd be like pulling me over, introducing me to people. And have you heard this guy sing? If we were at an event, have you heard him sing? And he really was just a huge fan of my music, which touched my heart. And I got to know him really well, but I didn't know Jack. So eventually I, through my music, reached out to Jack's people. I got myself booked at an event with Jack Canfield as the opening act, the opening singer, to get everybody inspired. And then I was able to finally reach to his gatekeepers, who had gatekeeped me very well, by the way, and would not let me get to him. I finally reached out and said, "Hey, I'm singing at an event, and so I need to know if these songs are okay." And so I sent songs. The next thing I know, Jack was like, "Oh my God, this song's so great. Do you have a CD? I'd love to use it in my trainings and this and that." And we were connected. So that, which ultimately led to the third book that completely changed my life, not by reading it, but creating it. Who Do You Think You Are? Discover the Purpose of Your Life. Because this had me download a process to reach out to people in a way that was very successful. And I didn't have that process before I did sit, ask, and listen, which I'm sure many of you heard me talk about on this show before. But I started doing that process for the first time. Sit, ask, and listen till I received the answer to one question before moving to the next. And in doing that, I downloaded a process that got me to ask all these 10 people from the movie The Secret, all these famous people, to be in a book. And many of them said yes to be my mentor. And that changed everything in my life. So I had to share it. And it's a really great book too. So that's my journey down book lane, which veered over to a movie and came back on track. So that's top 3 books that really transformed me.
Wow. The first book that really transformed me, I was going through a really rough time in this lifetime because nothing made any sense to me at all. I knew that there had to be like some order to the universe, but I certainly wasn't seeing it down here on this planet. And so I had lost my cousin. She had been murdered, and just like kind of everything flipped upside down. I could feel her around me, and someone suggested a book by Cryon, channeled by Lee Carroll, and it was called The Journey Home. And in this book, it was the first time I heard anybody say, "You are the creator of your own reality." And I went, wow, that is truth. Like it just, every cell in my body was just like, oh my God, this is so true. I know this to be true. And so that was kind of a parable that he had written. And then, so then I went back and I started with Cryon, book number 1. And I went through like all 12 at that time of the Cryon books. I think there were more. I think there were like 13 or 14 now. And I started reading through all of those Cryon books, and it was just like truth after truth after truth, like from home. Like I just knew that that was what was actually real. So I started, that was what really got me on my spiritual journey.
Wow, never heard that one.
Yeah, Lee Carroll is a famous channel. Cryon is the magnetic master, talks about, working with the Earth's magnetic grids and shifting the grids. And so it's really very interesting, but just beautiful, heartfelt wisdom from source itself. Just beautiful.
Yeah. Way of the Peaceful Warrior was another book that was pretty incredible because it really, I was convinced by the end of reading that book that either that guy followed me around and took notes and wrote a book about my life, or that the angel that he encountered in that book was the same earthbound angel that came to me. This was just too much similarity, the language, the way he revealed the first time, like for proof of who he was, like so many things that I kind of had to even like not write about in my book just so people didn't think I was rewriting that book. Yeah, that was a pretty incredible book as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't read that one yet. I've got a little reading list I need to catch up on.
Yeah, and the light shall set you free by Norma Milanovich. Speaking of channelers, she was kind of Abraham before Abraham. She got well known. She was channeling Cthulhu and the Arcturians, but in that book, it's all Cthulhu because he was the first one to channel through her. And that story's so fun because it's not in the book, but I have the backstory because my best friend is her son, and he did like the layout and the cover and everything for her, and it's part of our team. But he was just like, she was the least likely candidate ever to be channeling Cthulhu, and he was just like, whatever, mom, until he like walked past the computer, and he said she was like a hand pecker, I think they call it, when you type one finger at a time, and that's all she could type. Space bar.
Yeah.
So he walks through the room and he's talking to her, and he said she's sitting in front of the computer, and he just hears, and these words are just going fume, fume, fume across the screen, and he's like, mom, and she's like not hearing him. She's just like zoned out. These words are typing, and it's like Cthulhu speaking through her, and he's reading it. She doesn't even know he's there. He's just like, she's possessed, right? He's like, holy smoke. So then he's like, let me read some of the stuff you're typing up. Right? And then he was like, oh my god, she's totally a channel. And so we got to make this happen. So he stepped in and helped her bring it all together into a book. And she was doing, like you said, grid work, right? So she would take people on these journeys all over the planet, and that's all I know. But I heard one time about something being in one place and them kind of like the energy was going this way, and they were all like going this way to level it out. But other than that, it was always like hush hush as to what was going on. But I never did get to take one of those journeys. But she went to the most incredible places to do work, all over the planet. That would have been fun to go.
Yeah.
Some of them at interesting times when I was like, do not go there. Like they went to Jordan when there was like a big like war going on over there to do some grid work. I was like, oh, yeah, be careful.
Right. Yeah. And fortunately, when the leaders of the group are really super connected, they get really good information, they get protected, we have help from the non-physical realms.
Yeah.
And we are able to be guided just simply around and through all of the chaos without getting the chaos all over us.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty early in my journey. So, and her book really helped that too. And it was cool because when I asked her to sign my book, she had Kathumi sign it. It was pretty cool.
Sweet. Yeah, it totally sounds like Kathumi. It's like, hey, honey, we need to get this moving faster here. Let me take over. That would be totally what he would do.
And then Kathumi did say, like, you're here to do incredible things, and you'll step into your mastery at this age, and like this was very specific. And I was like, okay, I'm stepping into my mastery, like that's where I was at the time. But yeah, it ended up to be true. So
yeah, that's what we're all here for, is to step into our mastery. We are all the soul, the higher self. We are all directly connected to source, and we can source all of our information right from inside. We have just been trained that we have to source our information from the experts, and that there are experts that know far more than we know. And really, super is not true.
It's all right there.
Exactly.
Tap in, tune in, turn on.
Yes, precisely. Yeah. What about favorite quotes? Do you have favorite quotes that have helped you?
Yeah, what you said just kind of leads right into one. And John D. Martini in The Secret he was my favorite because like everything he said was just like the most incredible soundbite. I was like, that was a soundbite workshop. I want to learn from him. One of the things he said is the quality of your answers are based on the quality of your questions. So I like to say the quality of my answers are based on the quality of my questions. And so that's really the sit, ask, and listen process that I teach is, let me be really clear with the question that I'm asking, because the clearer I am, the clearer the universe will be able to answer it. And if I'm vague, I get a vague answer. Like every time, sometimes if I don't get an answer, then I reword it. Okay, maybe it's not clear enough. How can I, chunk this down? So that has been a huge one, because it really helped me reform the questions I was asking, therefore getting clear answers.
Yeah. When I found myself facing cancer in the beginning, it was like, why me? Why did this happen to me? I'm on my path. I'm doing my work. Why is this is so not fair? Why me? And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, wait a minute. I think I better ask some better quality questions.
Yeah, the universe is funny. Yeah, why you? And keep showing your reasons.
Exactly. It's like, well, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not good.
Not helping.
Right, exactly. All right, let me reframe this. What's it going to take for me to change this? What do I need to know about this in order for it to change? Once I started asking that question, then I received that answer. And then it was completely obvious to me. And then my favorite quote is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Because as soon as I stopped looking at things through the lens of my pre-programmed mind, and I started looking through the eyes of my soul, I saw a completely different picture.
Yeah.
Wow. That was it. Everything just shifted. It was completely obvious to me how to heal myself. But The answers don't come from the mind. They come from the soul.
Yeah. Yeah. From the giant funnel that pours into us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that as well. Like with light, every chakra is a different color. And so which chakra am I feeling depleted in? And then I like to like create a giant funnel in the sky, and then it pours that color like down into me. Or breathing in, like if I'm feeling like it's dark, right? And so I'm breathing in that color and then blowing out like the darker, blacker kind of mixed with that color out until I can breathe in and see nothing coming both ways but that color. That's kind of a meditation that I do that reminded me of what you said. I love this because we could sit here and just like talk and have a conversation, and everything that each of us says will remind me of another process or thing.
Right. Yeah, I love that you talk about that, because we as humans, we are never taught about energy and light and how to actually effectively utilize it. We're taught to look only at the physical stuff, and we're told that, if you can't see it or taste it or touch it, that it's not real.
Right.
And this isn't true at all. And, you're talking about utilizing things from the non-physical realms. Light is non-physical, sound is non-physical, color is non-physical. I mean, until it gets put onto something.
Yeah.
We can start to utilize all of these tools that are in the non-physical realms.
Yeah.
Our imagination is the most powerful tool that we have. So if we're talking about tools for transformation, the imagination is your number one ally.
Mm.
And that is the thing that has been hijacked. It has been stolen from us. As children, we have these beautiful active imaginations, and then we're told, sit down, pay attention, listen to the teacher, stop daydreaming, that's not real, those imaginary friends you're playing with, that's not real. And then our imaginations are shut down,
Mm.
and we're shamed for daydreaming. We're shamed for using our imaginations if we're not paying attention to the teacher.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
but that is literally our number one tool for creation. Everything in the physical realm started as imagination. In the non-physical realms, it started as an idea, and then it's focused on and energy added, and then it shows up in the physical realm, whatever
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true that a large percentage of us, and especially when we were young, weren't weren't told that. But the good news is I've seen a lot of people that are our age who, like us, did start to do the work once we got out of school,
Mm.
academia, and started to search and find teachers and learn things. And so now I see a lot more people when they're speaking with their kids who are the opposite of what we grew up with. So
Nice.
I don't know about never, but I mean, look, fortunately for them, I think it's good. There are more, everything's available, more options for our youth today. If they don't believe in something, they can go find it. And we had a Dewey Decimal System that was made it really, really hard to find things, very complicated to find things, and we had to find it in an actual book, which meant you had to actually go to the library. So talk about old school.
Yeah, right. Melville Dewey, he lived here in Lake Placid. Mm.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, yeah.
What
He
did he?
started the Lake Placid Club right here in
Uh,
this town. Dewey
must,
Decimal System,
was he a
dude.
scientist or something? Because it was made it so difficult. Can we just make it easier? Go alphabetical or something? I mean,
Yeah, right.
Lord, have mercy. I was great at basic math, and even then, I was like, "What?" Trying to figure that system out. Uh, so I was thinking of people have arrived, right? We have some comments and stuff.
Yeah, Karen's here with us this morning. Good morning, Karen.
Hey, hola.
I know we don't have as many comments this morning. So Y'all
All right.
start commenting. Come on. Let us know
All
you're
right.
here.
All right. Well, when I was thinking of a process, I was thinking
There's
of like,
Patrick. Awesome.
what's a process that you
MJ.
would have never seen from me before? That's what that was transforming for me. So I know Karen knows this one, but hopefully the rest of you don't. When I was, I forget which event I was at, but I finally got to meet Hale Dwoskin, who was in my Who Do You Think You Are book, and he was in The Secret. And he's this fun little guy who just with the most infectious laugh, and he will just giggle all the way through as he's teaching things in all the perfect places to just kind of get you smiling and laughing. There was a live event, and he did a process, and like me, he's very simple with his teachings. The things that he teaches, if you just listen to the words, it sounds like, wow, that's super simple, yet incredibly profound. So the reason that I asked every one of you to bring a pen with you is for this process. And so you might have thought I meant pen and paper, but really just a pen. So what we're going to do is this pen represents what's one thing right now that's like a frustration or a judgment, maybe on yourself, maybe on a person, like something that you've just been holding on to. So think of that thing. What is that thing this could represent? Probably didn't take too long to get one, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to wrap our hand around this pen. And now from this moment on, I want you to squeeze that pen with all your might. Give it everything you have and continue to squeeze until I tell you to stop squeezing. So we're squeezing, and of course, this represents something that we're holding on to. And isn't that what we do in life? Hold on to stories from the past, hold on to anger, hold on to resentments, and we grip it tight, keep squeezing, and we hold on to it and we drag it forward with us. Maybe we do a process now and then, but we still the next day bring the same story back. Yeah, that's right. I know I did that with chronic pain for 30 years, kept dragging it forward, right? So I met Lisa. And so keep squeezing. And so isn't it interesting that there's something that's so comfortable about holding this pen right now, even when I'm squeezing it, just something so comfortable in holding on and continuing to hold on to this pen. Even when there's, I don't know, a little pain. Is there a little pain yet? Having a little pain in your hand? Not really used to squeezing, are we? But even when it's painful, we still continue to hold on. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Yeah. And then if we squeeze and hold on long enough to resentment, to pain, to those things, we can start to go numb, like eventually our hand will when we continue to squeeze and squeeze this pen. So as we continue to squeeze this pen, we're just looking at the metaphor, right? Of how we hold on to things and squeeze and hold on to things. As if, I don't know, do we get something out of it? Is there something like some payoff for us to continue to squeeze and hold on to this pen? Oh, even when it starts to hurt, like my hand is really hurting, and still holding on to this story, to this thing. And so I think it might be long enough. I can't remember how long we have to squeeze, but my hand's really starting to hurt. I don't know about yours. And so I'm wondering with this, if we could just I don't know, go ahead and turn your hand over, and then when I tell you, slowly keep squeezing, keep squeezing slowly. When I tell you, slowly, you're gonna open up your hand and then drop the pen. Right. So when I tell you, slowly, go ahead and release the pen in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Whew. Go ahead and shake out your hand. Now, if things happened for you like they did for me, when I decided it was time to let go and I slowly started to release it, did you feel that pain and resistance of letting go because it was gripped so tight for so long? Right. So at the very beginning it was like, oh, that's the part that goes, do I do, can I really, can I really, can I, could I, would I, could I? And then when you actually got your hand open, how easy it was to drop that thing. Pain, resistance, holding, dragging forward, story, oh, drama, I'm receiving so much from holding on to this. But when I actually got to this point, it was that easy, that easy to let it go.
Yeah.
And so thinking again, bringing up something else, and you can do this with your eyes closed or open, thinking again of something else that you may have been holding on to for a while. This is that one thing, and it doesn't usually take us very long to come up with something. Something you've been holding on to. I would ask you 3 questions about that thing. And so the first thing is just for right now, not forever, but just for this moment, that thing that you've been holding on to that you're thinking of right now, just for right now, could you let it go? And there's no right or wrong answer. If you say no, then that's a perfectly valid choice. It's just if it was just for now, like right, just for right now, that thing, could you let it go? And the second question is, would you let it go? Not forever, but right now, could you just let that go? Would you just let that go? And the third question would be, when? Could you now let it go? Would you now let it go? When would you let it go? Now? So it's could you, would you, when? Could I, would I, when? And so for a long time after I saw him, he spoke about an hour about this. So you can go to the sedonamethod.com or type in the Sedona method, enter, and then hit videos. And there's a video demonstration of him doing every word basically after you drop the pen in the video. So you had to get this part. So imagine coming in right after that. Now it's the master. But for quite a while after that, things would come up, and I just identified my trigger when something is really not feeling good. I identified my stomach tightens up when I get triggered or I'm upset about something. So I got to where because what my friend Jack Canfield taught me is every time my stomach would tighten up, what is that? That would be my question. So then I would identify what was going on, and then I would say, oh, could I let it go? I guess I could. Would I let it go? Yeah. All right. When? Now. Okay. And then if I didn't feel like I completely let it go and complete release, then I just repeat the process. Could I let it go? Would I? And I just kept going till it was like, yes, yes, now. Because like you said, there's no right or wrong. If you're like not ready to go and you want to hold on to it, that's a choice as well. So come back to it, or keep spinning through and looping through like I did till I finally got there, because I didn't want to waste it. It's a simple and profound process. But I think he had us hold on probably a good 5 more minutes than I did. So the pain was excruciating. And then I barely, almost couldn't even open my hand. It was so used to being like this. But I didn't want to take up the whole call with the process. But so the Sedona method, that was like so profound, because I just didn't ever realize it could be that fast, that quick, that I could let something go. And then eventually, why I said for a long time is because eventually it got to where I didn't even have to say could you, would you, when. I could go, oh, there it is, and let it go, right? Because it really got into there. That's how fast I could let it go. So I wanted to share that with each of you, because I know for those of you that have come to this every week and seen me once a month, or dream weaving with me, or ever came to a workshop or whatever, you've like probably seen and heard some of the things that I share. But this I had not done since live events so many years ago.
Wow, that was awesome. Karen said it wasn't easy letting it go. When I released my hand, nothing happened. It was stuck in that position. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I released my hand, the pen was actually stuck to my hand. So,
Wow.
and that was really my experience when I realized, like, oh my gosh, I can let this whole idea of cancer just go because it's not true, it's not real. I can let it go. It still kept sticking. It was like, oh, like, wow, can I actually let that idea go? Can I actually trust that my body's going to heal itself? Like there was still like stuff that was stuck on there, and I had to choose again and again. It's like, no, I can see that this is an illusion. I can see that my body's not being attacked. I can see that my body will absolutely heal itself because it always has. And if
Yeah.
it's done it once or twice or 100 times, it'll keep doing that. So it was like I still had to continually choose to let it go and
Mm,
trust.
yeah. 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 And that's what's interesting in dream weaving. I love to tell people, if they come in and burn something up, if it's still there, keep it burning. Do it 3 times a day. Do it every day for a week, 2 weeks, till what you bring in like replaces the thing that you burned, and it works. It actually works.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
I mean, wouldn't
Yeah,
it be great if we just burned it up one time and it was gone every time?
exactly. I mean, that is absolutely possible, but
It
it's
is.
not quite as practical at this point.
Right. Right.
Once we
Especially.
get to a certain point on our spiritual journey and we've raised our vibration high enough, it does get that quick where you can just
Yeah.
simply notice something and go, oh, wait a minute, hang on, that doesn't belong to me.
Yeah. And
And we can,
sometimes the trigger is someone we live with, or we see a lot, or a parent, or
yeah,
so there's a process of constant reminding ourselves.
yeah, exactly.
My mom could trigger me quicker and deeper than anyone else could on the planet. So she was always an opportunity for growth, for me, every time we were together. And the good news is, once I started looking at it as that instead of the other, then it really did serve me. Like, how quickly can I come back to love? How quickly can I come to peace while she's poking the bear,
Right.
Which I
Exactly.
always thought was interesting. Like, why did he do that? Obviously, I'm getting triggered.
Right.
Why? So it must be for me. It must be to teach me something, because it doesn't make any other sense that it would like purposely be poking me.
Right. It's like whenever we're getting triggered, it's because we have that energy still in our energy field. We're just simply being shown what is still in our energy field that needs to be cleared out and released. So
Mm,
it's just such a beautiful way of recognizing, like, oh, that's still in there. All right, here, let me clear that out, because we've never been taught how to look at energy. And so we've just been taught how to look at circumstances. So we see somebody triggering us. And instead of what as you're talking, it's like, oh, wait a minute, how do I come to peace? And it's like, all right, how do I feel when they're triggering me? Is it anger? Is it resentment? Is it shame? Is it doubt? It's like, oh, that's the energy that is being reflected by this other person. Let me clear out the energy of this, and
mm,
then it's gone, and then they don't have to keep triggering us because we've cleared that energy out.
wow. Yeah. Ultimately, when it came to the end, all the work that I had done paid off. Going back to the reading the Many Lives, Many Masters, listening to people who had been to the other side, channelers, and all the things that I learned, because I ended up my mom was, even when she was in hospice and she was had a foot out, she was still holding on because she had a fear of death. And so the things I taught her helped her be able to move on and get rid of that fear.
Mhm.
You know, she grew up her whole life in the Mormon church, which believes in like celestial kingdoms, and their whole thing is based on heaven after, right? But then they also had this like, if you sinned and you haven't been forgiven in the church by the man with the special plan, apparently could give you, uh that there was a thing called outer darkness, and that's what she was afraid of because of the life she had lived. She'd done some pretty incredible things that would, and not got forgiveness apparently from the guy. So I was like, you've been going to that church for all those years. Do you believe any of the dogma, any of the things that they've taught you? Yeah. Do you believe in Jesus? It's like the guy, right? Do you believe in that? Okay, well, he taught it happens as you believe it's done unto you. Pray, believing that you have, you'll receive. Faith of a mustard seed. I mean, how many different ways could he have put it? So the truth is, what you believe is what you get in the afterlife. So what do you want? Let's get clear about that. Do you want outer darkness? Because you'll have that if you hold on to that. No,
Exactly.
no, no. You want to be with your family. You want to be with Mel again, right? My stepfather who passed 5 days after they got married. You know, you want to be with grandma again. You want to be with your sister again, right? Yeah. Isn't that what you guys believe in? Yeah. Oh, well, let's buy into that, right? What would that be like? What would that experience be like?
Ah,
And then, so I got her to start to change her mind and open up her mind enough that then I could bring my shaman, Mary, my dear friend and shaman, in to work with her, and then help her to start raise out of her body and then put her back in. So she got used to that, and then ultimately she uh, facilitated a process where I and my mom left our bodies and went up to the heaven she believes in, almost, because they don't believe that anybody but Mormons could go to the top. So I was like, I'll wait here. Go ahead. And then she went on, and then she saw Mel, and she saw all the people, and they said, "Oh, we're waiting for you." And then she came back, and we came back together and dropped into our bodies, and then we both were sharing the experience that we had, and it was exactly the same, which proved to her that it actually happened. And then she was gone shortly after that. There was just like one other thing on the bucket list that had to happen, and once that happened, then or two. One was to see my little sister, and then the other one was to have her bishop come. So after she saw the little sister, then I told her I would have the bishop come that night, and if she wanted to go then, uh, when I wasn't there, that's okay. And if not, then I'd be back the next morning. Maybe we do that together. So she did not want me to be there for that because she passed like 5 in the morning that next morning. Then her bishop came. So incredible process, and all of that because of things I had read, things I had done, all the meditating, all shaman work, like all those things came into play for mom's transition. And right. And so how beautiful it would be to have all the things, the work, play, if you will, that I had done for myself, on myself, to pay off in such a beautiful way in the end of my mom's life, this particular round. And then how I was able, well, yeah, I can't say that. Didn't help me with after she transitioned for a very long time. That was the hardest one I ever had to process. Didn't do great with it, but it facilitated the process well.
yeah. It's funny because we are non-physical beings by nature. We are the soul. And we are so identified with the physical body that we forget that we are non-physical beings. So this is part of what I teach my clients. Or I don't teach them, I just facilitate them remembering that they are non-physical beings. And we do processes all the time, little guided journeys to step the attention point into the non-physical realm so that you can see that you exist in the non-physical realms. And you can see that even if your physical body stops, you continue to exist in the non-physical realms.
Mm.
You know, the more comfortable we can all get with being non-physical, recognizing ourselves as non-physical beings, the fear of death simply goes away, and we start operating from our higher consciousness. The higher consciousness is the soul, and that is the part that is in the non-physical realms. It's the part that is connected to source itself. And it's where all of this wisdom is, it's where all of the answers are. And when we start to notice that we exist as source itself, we can simply start sourcing all of our answers from inside, from the soul, from the higher self, from who we actually are. And we can stop listening to all of the experts out there, because just like the Mormon said, I love this, I'd never heard it before, but exactly what they say, what did you say? The darkness is out there, or the outer darkness. That is true, because the light comes from inside.
Yeah.
The light comes from inside. The darkness is out there. When we look outside ourselves, we turn the light off, going, oh, somebody else has all the answers. Let me go look for the experts. Let me find out what's wrong with me. They'll tell me what's wrong with me.
Right.
But when we turn it around, when we change the way we look at things, when we stop looking, this is the beauty of the physical body, is that we have the ability to look both outward and inward.
Right.
The physical eyes are the things that look outward. They look at the physical stuff, which is outside the physical body. But then we have the third eye, which looks inside. The imagination looks inside. And this is where all the answers are. The
Right.
entire universe, we access the entire universe from inside.
Right. And the people who taught me that and reminded me of that and showed me ways to do that and tools that I attracted into my life were outside. They were outside sources. But I love what Dr. Karen, who's listening today, shares, is that all the best mentors, all the true mentors, the ones that you want to hire, the ones that you want to have as mentors, they don't keep themselves as the guru that you have to keep coming to them. They teach you to go within, like Dr. Karen, like Lisa, right? So all of my master teachers that helped me, they were always telling me to look within and me to look right here, right? That I was it. I'm it, and everything else is a hologram, basically. And so, like, the two of you have developed, ways to teach people to heal themselves, as opposed to, come to me, right? Come to me, and I will do the thing for you.
Exactly. That's the message of the traditional doctors. Here, take these pills, come back in next week, and I'll tell you some more, and then come back next month, and then come back in 6 months, and then come back next week. Keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. It's like,
Yep.
no, we want to set everybody free. It's like, we want to help you remember who you actually are, so that you don't need to keep coming back to us. You can
Yeah.
go out and just start being who you truly are.
Yeah. And we were
Karen
talking.
says, I'm working on staying neutral and peaceful when people all around me, except you guys, are addicted to looking at a test to see if they have a diagnosis. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It really is mind-boggling to me that people have to go and have tests to see if they're okay.
Right.
Like, can you not just notice that you are okay?
Right.
Do you not just feel good, like right here, right now? If you're feeling good, can you just not own that you're feeling good and that you're okay? Like,
Right.
external validation, man, it's a killer.
Yeah. Yeah. And Karen will teach you to test and find your own answer to what it is, and then zap it with commanding it to go. I mean, it's just like,
Right?
hello, easy peasy. Just gotta learn the language. And then I
Exactly.
love, like, with with your work, it's like, oh, I'm having this thing here, right? And so, oh, okay, well, that usually means this or this. You know, what works for you? And then I'm like, oh, that, and oh, okay, all right, here, you want to try this or this, and like, okay, try that. I guess I love it. I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
I feel like the work, from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on, I always just kind of knew that I was going to attract into my life the perfect people, right? Uh, for my energy, as my dear friends, as my mentors, as my teachers, and I wanted all those things to be the same. And we were talking about this right before we went on today. Was, when I watched The Secret, I didn't think I want to meet those people and get their autograph. I thought I want to know them. I want to have them be my mentors. I want to be friends. I want to be invited to their house for Thanksgiving. Like, that's how close I want to be with these people. These are my peeps, and just went into that mode. And that's what created the book. That's what created me attracting uh, people like you and Karen in my life. Just having, like, that's who I want to be with. People that know why we're here. People that teach people to get in touch with themselves so they can heal themselves. Like, that's just what I love, and I'm so grateful for you in my life.
Aw,
And
thanks. I'm so
yeah,
grateful for you guys in my life too. Patrick asks, after reading the books you did and living by certain mantras, what other steps were taken toward your healing? So, I mean, there are definitely steps that we can take. The first step I always say is take the label off. Get rid of whatever label they've given you. If they, cancer, Lyme disease, Parkinson's, take the label off, get rid of it. Because the actual truth is the only thing is wrong is the body is out of balance because you've been out of balance. Like, that's literally the ultimate truth. Like, the body doesn't go out of balance by itself. It doesn't just say, hey, I think I'm just going to get sick today. The body doesn't do that. So the body goes out of balance when we go out of balance. And what's easier to heal? A body that's out of balance or cancer, right? Or Lyme disease or Parkinson's. Like, those things, that's a hard thing to swallow, a hard pill to swallow, those titles, those labels, right? And they make it really, really scary. And the stories are scary of the treatments and how long it's going to take. You know what? Take the label off, get rid of it,
yeah,
and just realize your body is going to heal itself when you bring yourself back into balance. So that's one of the things that I did right away. It's like, take the label off and start. You have to be willing to stop listening to the experts, because everybody's an expert except we are the only expert on our own body.
mm,
So when you stop listening to everybody else's opinions of what's going on in your body, and you start actually tuning in to your own cellular structure, and you take your power back, you become the master of your own molecules. There is
mm,
nobody else who is master of your molecules. And like it or not, it's up to you to command your molecules, to lead your molecules where you want them to go. They're not going to walk themselves back into health if you're sticking around and, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Simply not going to happen. If you want to be healthy, you have to lead your molecules back into health. You have to vision yourself. You have to choose that. And choosing is a huge tool, because most people just say, I want to be healthy. Well, that's not a choice. That's an assumption that you're not. So you're simply going to keep living on the assumption that there's something wrong with you.
mm,
So in order to do that, you have to choose to be healthy. And then
mm,
you have to walk yourself in that direction.
yeah, yeah. Well, in this book, right, there was a woman named J. Karen Thomas, and I asked everybody the same three questions. And the third one is, if you could give advice to those searching for their purpose, would it be? And not only was it the answer to that, but for me, it ended up being the answer to everything. She said 14 words. And this is what she said: go within, go within, go within, go within, go within, go within, go within. And then there was three more paragraphs. And then, and again, to sum it up in two words, go within. Right? And that's just like, out of all the profound things that everybody said in here, that was the one that just dropped and was the easiest to remember of what everybody shared. And I just love that she said it like 7 times. I counted, like, how many times did she say it? Right? It was 7. And then 2 more at the end, right? So it was like 9, which is completion. And I don't think she was numerology, but it was like everything about the way she shared that was numerologically correct. Ooh, got that word out. Uh, really cool. So for me, that's just goes right back to what you're saying. You know, for me, all the answers are within. Like, I don't need to go without. I don't need to go out there to find the answer. All the answers that have truly served me have been right here inside of me. Right? And so inside of this vast place that is able to reach out and go anywhere and then come back, and that's a whole nother level, is sitting down long enough to develop the tool to where you hear, right? Hear, sense, feel, get answers, and are willing to trust and believe in the answers that you receive. And I think that's where a lot of people, the inner critic, the doubter, whatever, comes in after you got the answer and talks you out of it. So if I ask a question and I focus long enough to receive the answer, and then I receive it, am I willing to like write it down and stick to it, like no matter what, knowing that that was correct? Trust myself that what I brought through was correct. Just that one practice of like writing down the first instinct, the first answer, and sticking to it no matter what, like 100%, I will stick with this, could change anybody's life.
Exactly. Following your own instincts. You
Yeah.
know, we're looking at worlds that, you know, people are being goaded and coerced and to, you know, encouraged to ignore their own inner guidance.
Yep.
And, you know, this earth school, it's not an easy place for any soul to be here in this earth school. we are here learning how to be grand angelic beings of light, to be our own ascended masters, to really learn how to come here and be who we truly are. But we can't be who we truly are when we're listening to everybody else and doing what everybody else is telling us we need to do. It simply is not how it works. But we are taught that we need other people to make the decisions for us. You got to elect politicians and let them make all the choices. You got to go to the doctors and let them make all of your choices. You got to listen to the teachers, let them make your choices. You know, we are simply taught to override our own inner guidance. So now is the time on this planet where we are going through this massive shift, and it is time for us to start sourcing our answers from inside. So this is why Keith and I have been sharing all of these things today to help encourage you to remember who you actually are. We are souls first and foremost, right? The soul is the solution. This is why we have Solution Sunday, to remind you that the soul is the solution and you are the soul. You cannot be not your soul. Are the soul right here, right now, the non-physical being animating this physical vessel. You are not your body, you are your soul. So as the soul, you cannot die. There is nothing wrong with you ever. And you are created in divine perfection. And your body is intelligent, and it is also created in divine perfection. Your body has a blueprint. And when you stray from your soul's blueprint, your body will also deviate from its blueprint. In order to bring your body back to blueprint, you need to come back to who you truly are. and take command of yourself. So Keith, thank you so much for sharing all of these amazing tools with us today.
You're welcome.
It is always such a pleasure having you here. We always learn so much. We always have so much fun. And we hope that all of you listening today and are listening on the replays get some great inner guidance from this. I would have typed more of the things in the chat, but I'm one of those that kind of henpeck. So I started typing some of the resources in the Facebook chat. So skim through there. For the other ones, you're on your own.
All right.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this month. As Keith is our guest each month on Solution Sunday. So Keith, thank you so much. And if you want to let everybody know where they can find your books and information on you, where do they find out about who do you think you are?
Just type in Keith Leon S anywhere. No, any of the books are on Amazon. Some under Keith Leon, some Keith Leon S. I think shows up either way. But yeah, really, just if you go to Google and type in Keith Leon S and hit enter, you'll find me. I'm not hiding.
Beautiful. We love it. And my book, The Simplicity of Self-Healing, is also available on Amazon, and you can find me at connectingyoutoyou.com. And each week, Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, you can find me right here on Solution Sunday, because the soul is the solution.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much. And until next week, create for yourselves a great week. Bye for now.
See you next time.